This video is an analysis of the painting Hotel by a Railroad, painted in 1952 by Edward Hopper. I consider Edward Hopper to be the best that I have ever seen in the skill of storytelling in a painting. He references a plethora of painters, photographers, and movie stills, but Hopper still tells a more elaborate story with what you can see and guess about what the people are doing, and then reinforcing this narrative with hidden shapes and references to other art. He is second to none. In Hotel by a Railroad, we have another voyeuristic view where we see the characters in the painting, but they don't see us. Now, this interpretation is only my opinion, but look for yourself and see if you agree. In Hotel by a Railroad, a man and a woman appear bored and in their own thoughts in a hotel room with railroad tracks seen just outside through the window. The man and woman are the same couple and dressed the same as Hopper's painting Hotel Lobby from 1942 and Room in New York in 1932, and now aged to 1952. Hopper also painted the same man in Pennsylvania Coal Town from 1947 and Gas from 1940, and he also painted the same woman in Morning in a City. The title Hotel by a Railroad sounds as though the couple did not plan on staying in this hotel, nor are they familiar with the area, or else the painting would be called Hotel by the Railroad instead of Hotel by a Railroad. A hotel by a railroad is likely to have empty rooms that could be rented at the last minute, and a clientele and staff who minds their own business. A hotel by a railroad is inviting to the criminal element, and more clues point in this direction. In the painting, the mirror and dresser together resemble a person hiding from the window as though the couple is in a hideout and on the lam. The shadow on the wall looks like a coffee pitcher with a large spout, pouring often, which is symbolically saying that they are on the lookout with a constant vigilance for anyone looking for them. I think that the couple robbed a bank or an armored car and they're holed up while the heat is on. Beneath the coffee pitcher is the red dresser as the fire heating the pitcher. The heat is also still on the couple, and the dresser is still a bright red, especially on the side facing the man, but the red dresser is in shadow where it faces the woman, to say the heat is still red hot on the man, but not so much on the woman. The wall on the right with the two large rectangles of the mirror and the window together make the shape of a radio. This further reinforces the story of the couple hiding and listening for any news about themselves or their pursuers. The adjacent window has silver curtains that resemble a large stack of silver coins on its side. The green window shade above the coins is the green color of money. The loot is hidden in the next room. The yellow painted outside of the adjacent building resembles the head of a large yellow whale. There is a lot of money hidden in the couple's other room in the hotel. The neck form a shape of a submarine periscope. He is looking outside to see if the coast looks clear. The periscope hints at the whale as an underwater theme, as the couple is hiding from the law. There is only a small sliver of blue sky in the upper right corner, a slim chance of getting away scot-free. The man's pants and vest resemble an ice cream scoop. He has scooped up the cash. His vest is also shaped like a helmet for deep underwater dives, another hint that the man and his wife are in hiding. The feet of both people are not visible in this painting. The couple cannot leave yet. The carpet is green. They are on safe ground for now, but the green is barely visible. They may not be safe for long. The couple is always partly a self-portrait of Edward and Joe in some ways, but they also represent other people as well, as the references of people and colors and lines of movie still photos and other artists, but Hopper also deliberately references paintings by some of the masters from centuries ago. Keep in mind that this is only my opinion, but I will show you what I think are some of Hopper's referenced images at the end of this video. The train tracks make a dynamite stripe on the stick of dynamite shape of the rectangular building in the distance on the right, with the chimney as an unlit fuse. It's far too dangerous to try to get away by train right now. They are safe for the moment, but trying to get away would lead to disaster. Hopper complicates the story even further. The man is thinking of killing his partner, so he gets her share of the loot. The man is standing and holding his cigarette like he's holding a piece of chalk to a chalkboard, and it looks like he's making a large number 1 with the vertical curtain in yellow. The other curtain, representing the woman, is on the right edge and is disappearing from view if the man's plans are successful. Large shadows on the wall make the shape of a 2 turning into a 1. The wall behind the woman makes shapes of 2 similar-sized kites, one dark and one light, flying in different directions. The line between the kites forms a guillotine blade looming over the woman, Hopper cleverly saying that the couple's differences is what is leading to putting the woman's head on the chopping block. Another guillotine shape is above the window and colored green. The stolen money threatens to be the death of both of them. Each of the people have their left hand out of view. It's each person for themselves. The man's right hand makes a shape of 2 perched birds, one light and one dark. They are no longer lovebirds, and the light-colored bird is barely visible. Just like in Room in New York with the same 2 people, the man in blue is also represented by the blue chair. The woman is sitting on him, squelching his wishes, a role reversal from when the man sat on the red chair representing the woman in Hopper's painting Room in New York from 20 years earlier. The red dresser represents the woman in red. As I said earlier, the dresser and mirror makes the shape of a person with their back to the wall hiding from the window. The woman is the one who does not want to go out, and she is dressed in a house dress for staying in. She is not planning on leaving. The man is all dressed up. He intends to leave soon, but no feet are visible in the painting, so they're staying put for now. The dresser is bright red on the right side near the man, and it resembles a bottle rocket stuck in the ground with the one visible short leg of the dresser, and the bottle rocket is being lit by the man's elbow. He's thinking of setting things in motion to be rid of the woman and keeping all the loot for himself. The woman is reading a book, and the white pages resemble a sail on a sailboat. She wants to be far away from this place. The pages also look like a knife blade, and with the book cover as a handle, the knife is unfolded and ready to use. She studies the book/knife as allegory that she is reading her husband, waiting for his attempt to betray her and get all the stolen cash for himself. The woman is ready for him. Upside down, the woman is the image of a pink Lone Ranger with hands on guns in holsters at her sides. Hotel by a Railroad multi-references images of Clayton Moore, who played the Lone Ranger on television beginning in 1949, and the show was still playing in 1952. The Lone Ranger stares at her adversary with dagger eyes, with the knife blade extending from the Lone Ranger's mask. The woman in Hotel by a Railroad is indeed looking at her husband with dagger eyes. Many artists from Canada are referenced in Hotel by a Railroad, hinting of multiple bank robberies in Canada in the late 1940s and early 1950s. A bank robber named Edwin Alonzo Boyd, again another bird reference, committed 6 bank robberies between 1949 and 1951, just before Hopper painted Hotel by a Railroad. When Willie Jackson, a member of the Boyd gang, was arrested, Edwin Boyd went into hiding with his wife Doreen. Edwin and Doreen were caught by police on March 15, 1952. Another notorious gangster, John Dillinger, a bank robber in the 1920s and 1930s, was a snappy dresser and was betrayed by his girlfriend, who was called the Lady in Red, as she wore a red dress to tip off the cops on the day the cops shot him. Once you know that Edward Hopper can tell such an elaborate story in his artwork, You look to see if he told incredible lengthy stories in his other paintings and etchings, and I will show you many of my Hopper interpretations on this channel. There is one last hidden shape that I want to show you, which fits in with the overall story of robbers hiding in a hotel. This is also another aquatic theme. It's a shape of a fishing hook with sunlight as the worm baiting the couple to go outside. If the couple succumbs to the lure of fresh air and sunshine, they will be caught and go to prison. Hotel by a Railroad's large window with large curtains on either side may be a hint that he is referencing many movie stills, and I believe he did reference many movie stills in Hotel by a Railroad. The movie titles also connect with the story that Hopper tells. These referenced movies are all about mobsters and violence and unethical behavior. And here I'll show you some examples. This is Humphrey Bogart in the 1941 movie High Sierra, a movie about a notorious thief and a robber of a California resort. Hopper referenced all the movie stills from High Sierra, but he also connected the plot of the movie with the story he's telling in Hotel by a Railroad. Hopper referenced several gangster and heist movies in Hotel by a Railroad. In this image, Hopper references Bogart's face in profile as the man's face in profile in Hotel by a Railroad. Hopper referenced the rifle barrel as the curtains. Hopper also made a clever reference to the mountains in this image, with a diagonal line going down and to the right with a light color above the line and dark color below the line. Hopper's man has his right arm making the same color and lines as the mountain. The man intends to make for the mountains somewhere far away, and Hopper elaborates his story with another connection to a still image from a movie. This movie still is from The Killers from 1946. It's a depiction of the story by Ernest Hemingway, which Hopper referenced in his famous painting Nighthawks from 1942. Here the Killers are making a nod to Nighthawks, and Hopper referenced back with Hotel by a Railroad, and probably other paintings as well. This image is also from The Killers, and is referenced by Hopper with a mirror image of the woman as the woman in his painting Hotel by a Railroad. Hopper even captured the facial features, but aged her. Hopper's woman referenced dozens of faces, and this is one example. Light reflecting on the back wall makes vertical rectangles, and Hopper referenced them with his rectangular shapes. Hopper referenced the woman's triangular collar as the triangle of light on the wall on the left side of Hotel by a Railroad. This film still is still another from The Killers. Ava Gardner is on the right, wearing a dress with a strap and bare shoulders, repeated by Hopper with the woman having bare shoulders and upper chest, and Hopper's woman also is prominently showing one strap of her top. The other strap is covered by her hair. Ava Gardner also has her torso turned with left elbow bent at a right angle and her bare forearm placed horizontally in front of her, and Hopper referenced Gardner with his woman in mirror image with her right bare arm bent and horizontal forearm in front of her. The still from The Killers has a rectangular picture above the mantel, and Hopper referenced the picture and mantel with his mirror and dresser in Hotel by a Railroad. Humphrey Bogart also starred in this famous movie about criminals, The Maltese Falcon from 1941. It would not surprise me at all if Hopper referenced other movies starring Humphrey Bogart in Hotel by a Railroad, besides Maltese Falcon and High Sierra. In this image with Humphrey Bogart holding the Maltese Falcon, yet another bird, the shadow of the Maltese Falcon on the left against the wall makes a similar shape as the man's vest and pants in Hotel by a Railroad. Both Bogart and Hopper's man are smoking cigarettes. The rectangular desk in front of Bogey makes a flat rectangular shape like the top of the dresser in Hotel by a Railroad. The large reflection of light in the lower right corner of the Maltese Falcon image is shaped like the upper left arm of Hopper's man. This is another film still from the Maltese Falcon. Hopper referenced the woman sitting in the chair and her dress with her bare legs. Hopper made the bottom hemline point down instead of to the right, partly to draw attention to the mood of the woman in Hotel by a Railroad. Humphrey Bogart faces to the right in profile wearing a dark suit, like Hopper's man. Both have their right arms in front of them, elbow bent, the back of their right hand facing the viewer. Hopper referenced the 4 vertical pictures on the mantel as blocks of the yellow building outside the window. The candlestick on the mantel in the Maltese Falcon is referenced by the glass container on the dresser in Hotel by a Railroad. The Maltese Falcon still has a man wearing a scarf, and Hopper referenced this scarf with his curtains. The rectangular horizontal frame above the doorway in the movie still is repeated as the horizontal shapes above and below the outside window. This is a film still from Underworld, done in 1927. A well-dressed man looks out the window. He is armed and ready for the opposition. The curtains are a similar shape, and Hopper also painted similar vertical and horizontal window frames, as well as the angled windowsill. Sunlight shines into a dark room in both images. Hopper even painted the white triangle of light in the lower left corner of the still image from the Underworld, turning it into the woman's pages in her book. When you want to strongly connect your artwork with another image, you reference many parts. This film still is also from Underworld, and I believe that Hopper referenced parts from all the still images from each of these movies, so there is little question that he referenced a particular movie, and he can also showcase his abilities. Here, the woman shows her bare arms and shoulders like Hopper's woman in Hotel by a Railroad. The ribbons along the far left edge of the picture outlines a long vertical rectangle that is a shape like Hopper's curtains. The black vertical line between the couple in the still is repeated by Hopper in the black window frame seen outside. The visible black line separating the couple in the movie still hints that the couple is not getting along in Hotel by a Railroad. Hopper elaborates the story in his painting with the reference, and he does this many times in all his artworks. Both the Underworld still and Hopper's painting feature the man standing in profile wearing a dark suit with a white shirt. This is also from Underworld. This is actress Evelyn Brent. Hopper referenced her bare arms and chest with the woman and Evelyn's face in right profile with the man's face in Hotel by a Railroad. Just like other master painters going back many centuries, Edward Hopper multi-referenced many artists in his picture, and I'm going to show you some examples. Hotel by a Railroad multi-referenced Christian Wilhelm Allers, a late 19th and early 20th century German painter and printmaker. I'm going to show you several paintings and illustrations. If you want more information on them, you can find them on Wikimedia Commons website. In this first Allers picture, the man on the left is standing with his right arm forward and his elbow bent, similar to the man in Hotel by a Railroad. The candles are referenced by the bottle rocket shape of the right side of the dresser with the man's elbow and the dynamite-shaped building outside on the right. The table is referenced by Hopper's dresser. In this self-portrait of Christian Wilhelm Allers, he's seen from the side and his arm is bent and forward. Every line in Hopper's painting references several images. In this Allers, we see a man wearing a derby, and the derby is referenced by the man's bald head in Hotel by a Railroad, and look at the likeness of the men's faces. Both men wear dark suits with white collars. Here, the girl on the left has a postured dress and bare legs like Hopper's woman in Hotel by a Railroad. The large angel wing is hinted by Hopper's angular sunlight reflecting on the left wall of his painting. Here, the girl on the horse wears a similar dress and bare legs and looks toward the clown who stands in profile with his right arm bent and forward. The clown standing on the stump on the far right is referenced in Hotel by a Railroad with the building in the far right, shaped like dynamite with the railroad tracks. That building shows one small smokestack, only the man, by himself without the woman. Here is a bald man facing to the right with his right arm bent and forward. The lamp is referenced by Hopper's glass perfume bottle on the dresser. The woman standing on the ball wears a dress and has sheer leggings, and has her face at the same angle as the woman in Hotel by a Railroad. Aller's woman's right arm is also positioned like Hopper's woman. The man sitting in the Aller's drawing wears a dark vest and a long-sleeved white shirt. Here's another well-dressed man in profile by Aller's with a widow's peak and a white collar. In this Aller's picture, the man is reading like Hopper's woman, and his right arm is bent like Hopper's woman, and his face is in profile, facing to the right like Hopper's man. Notice the fishing pole behind the book, another aquatic reference. And this is the last Aller's reference that I'm going to show you in this video. Quite a likeness of the man's face between him and the man in Hotel by a Railroad. Hotel by a Railroad multi-referenced the 18th and early 19th century Dutch painter Wybrand Hendricks, and I will show you several examples here. In this Wybrand Hendricks painting, Hopper referenced a person reading with his right elbow bent and extended forward. The standing man wears stockings on his legs, which is referenced by the bare legs of the woman. The stripes on the wall are referenced by the curtains, and the vase is referenced by the perfume bottle. Any of these references could be discarded as coincidence until you look at how often Hotel by a Railroad referenced all of the paintings by Wybrand Hendricks, and then the connections become much more likely, and that holds true for all the images that are referenced. In this painting, Hotel by a Railroad referenced the men all dressed up in black and white, one reading, and a large window on the right side of the painting with curtains. A long vertical green rectangle is seen between the left curtain and the window, and Hopper also painted a vertical green rectangle of the window shade of the outside window. This Hendricks painting is rather obviously referencing Johannes Vermeer. Hotel by a Railroad referenced the bare forearm of the woman and her face in mirror image. The window, the yellow rectangle of light in the window, is referenced as a brighter yellow rectangle of the outside building in Hopper's painting. The open red window frame is referenced by the rectangular red frame of the mirror in Hopper's painting. Here, Hotel by a Railroad referenced the woman sitting and reading with her arms in front of her with elbows bent, and a large blank wall behind her. The rectangular table is referenced by Hopper with the rectangular dresser. Hopper references this painting, which also reinforces that the woman in Hotel by a Railroad is biding her time, waiting for the man to make his move, and she's ready to defend herself. Here Hopper referenced a man and a woman in the picture, and the woman is reading. The red curtain is referenced both by the curtains and the red dresser. The man's right arm is forward with a bent elbow, and his hand is in a pose almost like the right hand of the man in Hotel by a Railroad. A large blank wall is seen on the left, and the white pen quill is referenced by the cigarette. In this Hendricks painting, the man is seated and reading with his arms in front of him with his elbows bent, like the woman in Hotel by a Railroad. His hair is very similar to the woman's hair. There's a large blank wall on the left and a curtain on the right. The red book and red frame of a picture above the book is referenced by Hopper's red dresser and red mirror frame. The white page which Hendricks' man holds is angular and on the left edge of the painting, which Hopper referenced with the angular sunlight reflecting on the wall, also on the left side of the painting. Here a woman is sitting and reading, her face almost at the same angle as Hopper's woman. She has a large blank wall behind her. Hendricks painted a rectangular wall on the right side of his painting, and Hopper referenced this with his rectangle of the far building, almost the same color and almost in the same location on the right edge of the painting. The feet of the red chair in Hendricks' painting is referenced by the foot of the red dresser in Hopper's painting. Hendricks' man is dressed up in black and white like Hopper's man, and he's reading like Hopper's woman, and his stockings are referenced by the woman's bare legs. Many vertical rectangles are seen on the walls. Hendricks' woman has her left arm in a white sleeve with a bent elbow, which Hopper referenced with his man with a right bent elbow and a white shirt. The white line on the lower hem of the woman's dress is referenced by sunlight on the windowsill at a similar color and angle in Hotel by a Railroad. Here Hopper referenced the angle of the face of Hendricks' man with the angle of the woman's face in Hotel by a Railroad. Both of the men wear dressy white shirts under a dark jacket. The diagonal angle of the hat in Hendricks' painting is referenced by the diagonal angle of darkness on the far left wall in Hotel by a Railroad. Here's another fairly obvious reference to Johannes Vermeer by Wybrand Hendricks. Hendricks probably had a collection of copies of Vermeer's artwork and multi-referenced him often. Multi-referencing goes back at least as far as the 13th century that I've seen. Edward Hopper referenced the pillars as curtains, and Hendricks' woman seated with her pose like Hopper's woman, and the women in both paintings are in a similar location of the lower left corner. There's only a small bit of blue sky in both paintings. The yellow brick floor of Hendricks' painting is referenced by Hopper with his yellow curtains as well as the yellow blocked building seen through the window of Hotel by a Railroad. In this last Hendricks painting that I'm going to show you, the woman is seated and reading with her face at a mirror angle to Hopper's woman's face. The book in Hendricks' painting is angled like Hopper's sunlight reflecting on the window frame. Russell Lee was an American photographer who was still alive when Hopper painted Hotel by a Railroad, and Hopper very much wanted Lee to see the references to his photography in Hotel by a Railroad, as well as many other Hopper paintings, which multi-referenced photographs by Russell Lee. Lee took hundreds of photos in 1946 and 1947 for the Coal Mines Administration Medical Survey. In those coal mine administration photos, Russell Lee referenced dozens of artworks by Edward Hopper. Hopper noticed, maybe on his own, maybe one of his artist classmates saw it and told him. Either way, beginning with Hopper's painting Pennsylvania Coal Town in 1947, and every painting after that, Edward Hopper multi-referenced photos by Russell Lee. A huge honor for Lee. Now, here are Lee photos which Edward Hopper referenced in Hotel by a Railroad. In this Lee photograph, he is referencing the girl with the maid as the apartment houses from Hopper's 1923 painting, the chair with Hopper's room in New York from 1932, and the tubular bedding on the right referenced Hopper's automat from 1927. In Hotel by a Railroad, Hopper referenced back to this photo with the chair as the woman's chair, curtains, and the large window in the same location at the far right. In this Lee photo, we see railroad tracks that span forward and to the right, and Hopper referenced his railroad tracks going in the same direction in Hotel by a Railroad. Here we see a rectangular desk with a large mirror behind it, which Hopper referenced with his dresser and mirror in Hotel by a Railroad. The rectangle of wood above the doorway is repeated by Hopper with rectangles above and below the outside window. Lee is referencing Hopper's room in New York and hotel lobby with the girl, and Hopper referenced back with Hotel by a Railroad with Lee's girl as the woman's pose and dress in Hotel by a Railroad, with the man's face in profile like the profile of the woman's face in Hotel by a Railroad, and also a large window with similar curtains. Edward Hopper referenced a window with curtains in the same location, the rectangular piano as the rectangular dresser, and the chairs are a similar style in both images. Lee has bright vertical rectangles of the walls on the left and right edges of the photo, and Hopper made similar rectangular curtains on either side of his window in Hotel by a Railroad. Hotel by a Railroad also multi-referenced the early 19th century Dutch painter Louis Moritz. Edward Hopper referenced this Moritz painting with the bare leg, bare upper chest, red clothing, and the man rotated like his position of the woman in Hotel by a Railroad. Moritz painted a dark rectangle area of a wall along the right side, and Edward Hopper referenced this with his own dark gray vertical rectangle, the building, also on the far right. Here, Hotel by a Railroad referenced the dark and white outfit as the man's outfit in the Hopper painting, and the Hopper's woman is sitting on a chair facing the same direction. The right hand of Moritz's man has a hand shaped like a knife blade, which Hopper chose to reference with the knife blade-like pages of the book that the woman holds. Moritz's woman has her face in profile like Hopper's man, and Moritz's man has his face rotated closer to that of Hopper's woman. There's a large window with a large curtain and a prominent windowsill in both paintings. Moritz's man has his right arm in front of him with his elbow bent and his index finger out, creating a number 1, which Hopper also referenced by his elaborate tale told in Hotel by a Railroad. In this painting by Louis Moritz, the woman is reading like the woman in Hotel by a Railroad. Moritz's man sits and has his shoulders rotated like Hopper's woman. The woman in the Moritz painting wears a green dress with a horizontal line across her chest, and Hopper referenced this with his own green horizontal line above the window in Hotel by a Railroad. Hotel by a Railroad also multi-referenced the late 19th and early 20th century American painter Elizabeth Nourse. Elizabeth Nourse painted the large window in the same location, with it bright outside and darker inside. The mother in Nourse's painting is sitting in a similar posture of Hopper's painting of the woman in Hotel by a Railroad. Nourse's daughter is standing looking at her mother, and the person standing in Hotel by a Railroad is the man, the reference indicating that the woman is the teacher here, and the man is the pupil, about to get schooled when he tries something to get rid of the woman. Elizabeth Nourse painted a large round plate hanging on the wall, and Edward Hopper referenced it with his curtains hinting at the roll of large coins, which I talked about earlier. This is a self-portrait of Elizabeth Nourse. She's wearing a somber expression like Hopper's woman, and she holds her paintbrush like Hopper's man holds his cigarette, but with her left hand. Elizabeth Nourse's reds and red oranges is referenced by Hopper with the red dresser and the orange railroad tracks. The reference by Hopper to this image also increases the likelihood that the man is painting a large number 1 with the curtain, thinking of getting rid of the woman, and just being by himself with all that loot. In this church scene, Elizabeth Nourse painted the back left woman as the same angle of view of her face as Hopper's woman. The woman's hat sort of looks like it's levitating above her head, and Hopper may be referencing this with the light behind the woman in Hotel by a Railroad shaped like a large dunce cap on the woman. She's dumb to have put herself in this position. This Elizabeth Nourse painting is called Les Violets Close, painted around 1900. It features a very similar dresser and mirror tilted at the same angle that Hopper put his dresser and mirror in Hotel by a Railroad 52 years later. Nourse also painted a large window with curtains. This painting is a big breadcrumb that Hotel by a Railroad multi-referenced Elizabeth Nourse. As soon as you see this, you should immediately look for other Elizabeth Nourse references in Hotel by a Railroad. Comparing Hotel by a Railroad with this Nourse painting, the women have similar positions and expressions. The men are in profile in mirror image. Windows in adjacent rectangles like Hopper's yellow building are seen, and there are curtains in both paintings. Here, Nourse's woman is sitting in a mirror image of the woman in Hotel by a Railroad and holding a cigarette with her right arm bent and forward. Hotel by a Railroad also multi-referenced the late 18th century American painter Matthew Pratt. In this Pratt painting, the rectangle of sea and sky on the right is shaped like the rectangle of building on the far right of Hotel by a Railroad. The striations of the sunset becomes the many horizontal lines of railroad tracks. Pratt's man is standing like the man, but has more of a facial resemblance of Hopper's woman. In this portrait by Matthew Pratt, the woman wears a pink shirt that is a very similar color and style as the woman's pink top in Hotel by a Railroad. She also has her head and upper torso in the same position as Hopper's woman. This painting is a very big clue to look for multi-references to Matthew Pratt in Hotel by a Railroad. In this portrait by Matthew Pratt, the man resembles Hopper's woman with his facial features and his head, torso, and right arm. The man's left arm is bent like the Hopper's man's right arm. He wears a dark coat and white collar like Hopper's man. Here, Matthew Pratt used the same palette of colors that Edward Hopper used 150 years later in Hotel by a Railroad. Pratt painted a man sitting at the left, facing to the right, at a similar posture as the woman in Hotel by a Railroad. The square red chair that the man sits on has a prominent chair leg, part in light and part in shadow. Edward Hopper painted a similar square leg of the red dresser, one side in shadow and the other side a more visible red in sunlight. Edward Hopper referenced the white stocking calves as the woman's bare calves in Hotel by a Railroad. Pratt's large rectangle of yellow canvas is referenced by Hopper's yellow rectangles in his building. The long light yellow rectangle of wall along the right edge of the Pratt painting is repeated by Hopper as the curtain along the right edge of Hotel by a Railroad. Hotel by a Railroad also multi-referenced the late 19th and early 20th century British painter and illustrator Charles Joseph Staniland. C.J. Staniland made many nautical illustrations which fit right in as an artist for Hopper to multi-reference in Hotel by a Railroad. In this Staniland illustration, the rungs of the ladder are referenced by Hopper's evenly sized yellow blocks on the building outside. Men on the ship are standing, ready to do battle, and the man is standing, also thinking of doing battle by getting rid of the woman. The large gun and rectangular shield near the right edge of Staniland's illustration is referenced in Hotel by a Railroad with the roof and smokestack also near the right edge of the picture. The unseen enemy is out there, but their guns are not yet pointing toward the couple. They are safe for now, as the smokestack is pointing straight up. Hopper referenced this Staniland illustration with the soldiers standing and Hopper's man standing. The young soldier salutes with his right arm bent like Hopper's man. The evenly spaced steps are repeated as the evenly placed yellow blocks of the building seen outside in the Hotel by a Railroad. Both pictures show two walls making a corner in the background. The illustration shows large round spare wheels, and Hopper references this with his large rolls of coins as the silver curtains seen in the outside window, which I talked about earlier. Here the soldiers are drinking and merrymaking, while overturned cups and men leaning to the side hint at stormy seas outside the boat. Hopper referenced the couple seated in the foreground as the woman in Hotel by a Railroad, with Staniland's man and Hopper's woman with similar right legs. Staniland's bottle on the left is referenced by Hopper's perfume bottle. The rectangular tabletops are referenced by the top of the dresser and horizontal rectangles on the top and bottom of the outside window in Hotel by a Railroad. In this illustration, the captain stands facing to the right in a dark suit with a white collar like Hopper's man. The captain has his left arm bent and forward, his index finger making a number 1, which connects to the story of a 1 in Hotel by a Railroad. Large plates are seen on the shelf on the right, which I believe Hopper referenced again with the silver curtain as a large roll of coins. This Staniland illustration shows a man in a diving suit, which Hopper referenced with the diving suit shape of the man's dark vest and pants, which I discussed earlier. The triangular flag is referenced by Hopper with the dark angular kite shape on the upper left-hand corner of Hotel by a Railroad. Hopper referenced this Staniland illustration with men standing and facing to the right like Hopper's man. One of the men standing on the left wears a dark vest with a light white long-sleeved shirt and has his right elbow bent, like the man in Hotel by a Railroad, although the arm is bent at a different angle. In both artworks, the woman is sitting and observing the scene. The large vertical rectangles of the mast is repeated with Hopper's many large vertical rectangles. This Staniland illustration is called The Lookout, and it appears that Edward Hopper made his story in Hotel by a Railroad strongly reference the nautical stories told by C.J. Staniland's illustrations. The men in both pictures are looking out the window for possible danger. The large rectangle on the left and right sides of the illustration are referenced by Hopper, with the left wall rectangle and the rectangle of the building on the far right. The last artist that I'm going to show you in this video that Hopper multi-referenced with Hotel by a Railroad is the late 19th and early 20th century American photographer William James Topley. Keep in mind how many images that Hopper references in an artwork. It numbers in the thousands, and I'm only showing you some of what I've found. There are sure to be others. This photograph is a huge clue that Edward Hopper multi-referenced William James Topley in Hotel by a Railroad. A man is standing, facing to the right, and looking out a window, with sunlight coming into the room through the window. The man is sharply dressed, wearing a dark suit with a white shirt, like Hopper's man. A large gray wall is behind the man, just like in Hotel by a Railroad. In this Topley photo, the man sits facing the same direction as the woman sitting in Hotel by a Railroad. A large open book is on the left, which Hopper referenced with the woman's open book. Both pictures show large curtains and a large blank gray wall in the background. The Topley photo shows a large rectangle on the door in the upper left corner, and Hopper referenced this with his many rectangles. Topley's man holds a quill, referenced by Hopper's man's cigarette. Topley's man has his right hand positioned like the woman's right hand in Hotel by a Railroad. This Topley photograph shows a man in profile, and look at the likeness of the man's face with the face of Hopper's man. Topley's man wears a dark suit like Hopper's man, and Topley's man is reading a book like Hopper's woman. The rectangular desk is referenced by Hopper with the dresser, but also the woman's chair, which forms a large rectangle in the lower left-hand corner. In front of Topley's man is a shape of an organizer that looks like a ladder on its side, just to the left of the man's chest, and Hopper referenced the evenly spaced lines with his yellow blocks on the building in the Hotel by a Railroad. Here railroad tracks are seen in both images. The man in the locomotive looks out the window, and Hopper's man is also looking out the window. The rectangular coal car is referenced by Hopper's rectangular desk in Hotel by a Railroad. The smokestack in the photograph is referenced by Hopper's chimney and the top of the perfume bottle on the dresser. The large wheels of the train are hinted by Hopper's curtains as large coins, which I talked about earlier. In this photo, a well-dressed man stands wearing a dark jacket over a white shirt, like Hopper's man. There's a large gray wall in both pictures. Hopper referenced Topley's stairs on the left as the evenly spaced blocks of the yellow building. The white and dark floor in the photograph has an angle and color like the windowsill in Hotel by a Railroad. In this Topley photograph, the man sits on a chair like Hopper's woman, and Topley's man has a face that looks like Hopper's woman as well. Topley's man is dressed sharply, with a dark jacket over a white shirt, like Hopper's man, and there's a large gray wall in both images. Topley's curtain in the top right corner and the frills of the furniture in the lower left-hand corner are referenced in Hotel by a Railroad with the yellow curtains. Topley's desk is placed at almost the same angle as Hopper's dresser. In this last Topley photo, actually the last reference I'll show you here, a man sits in a chair like Hopper's woman. He's bald like Hopper's man. Topley's man's right hand is referenced by the knife-shaped pages in the book Hopper's woman is reading. Topley's man's left hand is positioned like the right hand of Hopper's man, but is pointing in the other direction. There's a large gray blank wall in both pictures. Topley's photo has long rectangular shapes on the left side of the picture, and Hopper referenced these shapes with the curtains in Hotel by a Railroad. The furniture sits at almost the same angle in both pictures. I hope you enjoyed my analysis of Edward Hopper's 1952 painting Hotel by a Railroad. Once you know that Hopper can tell such an elaborate story with a single painting, you start to look at other stories in his art. I made previous videos of Hopper's Room in New York and also Nighthawks. I hope you check them out. Thanks for watching.